welcome to my kitchen. It's nice to meet you. Today, this is the first episode of Baking Me Happy, and it's exactly what it sounds like. We'll be baking some of my favorite recipes, and I'll show you some of my added tips and twists. As we bake these recipes together, I hope that it makes you feel happy as it always does me. When I'm feeling crappy, I bake myself happy. Baking has got... Now, I started culinary school specifically to learn the why behind my baking. I wanted to know the chemical reaction so I could always do it right. Baking has gotten me through some really bad times, and it's always helped me. Now, once I understood the why, well, it picked up where Alton Brown left off, to be honest, because he did teach me mostly how to cook. I just felt like I loved baking more and more as I went, okay? Now today we're going to be making a banana bread because I got some boo-boo bananas. And this was one of the first quick breads I learned to make. This one's going to be coming from the Better Homes and Gardens 1989 iteration, page 56. I've been making this since I was little in my mom's kitchen, and she would always tell me, now, we don't waste bananas. They're perfect for banana bread. So she would pop open her cookbook, which was a Better Homes and Gardens cookbook, but it was a binder. Like, you could add and take away recipes. I guess they did the thing back in the day. Like, y'all remember those? Y'all remember those, like, send you a recipe on a card kind of things? Well, it was kind of like that. So, like I said, this is one of the first memories that I have with my mom, and I'll show you some of the tricks to make perfect banana bread. A quick bread is what banana bread is. Now, quick bread relies on baking soda and baking powder for its rise, not yeast, so it doesn't have to proof. Just blend and bake, okay? I can't wait to send these bananas to Glory. So, like and subscribe, pop me on your counter, and let's make some delicious banana bread. Now today, I've got my stuff together, and we're doing ingredients first. Have no fear, I will still put the complete recipe in the description. So we're going to need 1 3/4 cups sifted all-purpose flour. Now whenever I do it in the recipe down there, it's going to say AP flour, all-purpose flour. Make sure you sift it. It helps with texture, I promise. Okay, we need 2/3 cups of sugar, which I've got right here. We need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Now remember what I said, baking powder and baking soda are not the same. However, in this one, we do need some baking soda. We need a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, okay? We're gonna need a cup of mashed ripe bananas, and I'm gonna do those in just a second, okay? Now that's usually 2 to 3 medium bananas. Not sure how many that's gonna be. You wanna be as precise as possible because you don't want it to mess with the texture. But if you get a little over or a little under, not a big deal. 2 tablespoons of milk, which I have right here, 2 eggs, and a 1/4 cup chopped nuts. A 1/3 cup of butter. Now, the recipe says margarine, shortening, or butter. Come on, y'all. The butterier, the betterier, okay? So this is a real easy recipe. We're going to start and go ahead and mash up our bananas first, okay? Now, these bananas are super soft. I really wanted to do this yesterday, but y'all, I went to the chiropractor, and my back was feeling kind of adjusted, and I didn't want to jack it up, you know. Okay, now I've got my pastry cutter, but I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm just gonna kind of mash these. We don't want to get them. It's kind of like banana sauce, like applesauce is. So we just want to mush it, mush it, mush it, mush it, mush it, mush it. Now I don't know if you can see that, but it's nice and mushy. That's how we want it, because we want it to incorporate itself really well, right? Now, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to combine 1 cup of the flour. Let me grab my measuring cup. 1 cup of the flour. Now, I know that we said creaming method is to mix all the wet ingredients first. This is going to come out looking like a batter, so it doesn't matter that the first cup is in there. This is just to get it started, and then we'll like fold in the rest of the stuff as it comes to that, okay? So we're going to add the flour, the sugar, all right? And y'all, I know you're like, oh Nat, you can bake, shouldn't you remember this? You've been doing it for years. It doesn't matter how many times I've done a recipe. The way my brain works is I always leave out something by accident. If I try to remember it, I'll leave out like the baking soda or or the vanilla. And I've been doing this so long, y'all. So out of habit, I keep the recipes with me. Before I do these shows, I write them down separately in a concise way that I can understand so that I can show you, but I have to have the recipe or I'm going to make sure, or it's going to be wrong. And I ain't teaching you wrong, okay? So, alright, we got the sugar, we want the baking soda and the baking powder. So, let's see, we have 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Now, remember what I showed y'all the other day? These, another great Amazon find. They all stay together, and it's oh my gosh, it's so much easier. Especially because they're square, so they're easier to even off too. So we need 2 teaspoons of this. And remember what I showed you. Bend your lid back. Make that little sharp edge. Alright. So we got 1, 2. Alright. And then we're going to need the baking soda. And the baking soda says half a teaspoon. So we're going to come over to our little half teaspoon. I'm telling you, these things are awesome. So a little half teaspoon. Alright. That's our baking soda done. And we need salt and banana. So salt, it says 1/4 teaspoon. I got one of those too. I'm telling you, this thing is neato. Neato. That don't want to open. That's so stupid. 1 teaspoon of salt. We got to add the banana, the butter, and the milk. So we got butter, milk, and banana. Not my spatula right here. All right. Now we're going to take these. Remember that creaming method, right? So now we're just going to beat this. Now I don't know if I said it or not, but that butter is supposed to be salted. Pretty much a given anytime you got to mix butter, because you can't mix hard butter. You just can't. So remember our little talk the other day about scraping down your sides. Why do we scrape down the sides? Because when you scrape it out of the bowl, you're going to scrape everything that's in the bowl into the pan. And you don't want them crunchy flour and sugar bits not mixing in well. Do you want a good bake or not? I mean, that's the... And here's why it makes me happy. Number 1, it's cathartic, but number 2, like, it's not just the act of baking, it's seeing somebody's face when they try your food for the first time. Can't be beat, because you're just like, do you like it? Does it taste good? Does it taste good? I want it to taste good. Is it yummy in your tummy? That's what I'm looking for. And that's another reason it makes me really happy. I will take my bakes, because there's only 3 people here, and I'll go give them to people. And so I'm making other people happy too. And it's just such a good feeling, ain't it? Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do, this says beat for 2 minutes, and I didn't do that, so we're going to do that now. See, I told you if I don't have a recipe, I'll forget something. But the reason you want to beat it for so long is because you want this dough to be extremely emulsified and incorporated. You'll want a good dough. That is so important. Alright, now that I got that mixed, what I forgot to do is preheat the oven. I told you, I forget stuff, but I always catch myself and go back. Okay? We're going to preheat to 350. Okay, so now it says add in the eggs and the rest of the flour. So we're going to do 1 egg. 2 eggies. Alright. Okie dokie, and then we're going to add the rest of the flour. Now the way I do it is I just add a little at a time, because I don't like it flying everywhere. As you're mixing, you're going to want to make sure you're scraping the sides of that bowl down really good. I'm messy, but I'm getting better. Remember, a little at a time does the job. Now this isn't going to be like a runny cake batter, but it's not going to be as thick as the bundt cake we did either. I don't know if you're aware, if you bake a lot you might be, but whenever you're using a hand mixer or even a stand mixer, you can lift the beater out of the bowl, not all the way out, unless you want to be a mess maker like me. Just lift the beaters out of the bowl and let them spin a little bit just above the batter, and it gets that extra batter off the beaters. Batter off the beaters. Batter off the beaters. My poor hand mixer can't stand it much longer. I've been using her for everything, so I'm waiting for Santa Claus to bring me a new one. Santa baby. Alright, now I didn't show you guys this last time, but I'm going to show you this time because I have this knife that I really want to show you how it works. If you have a knife, you do not need a food chopper, okay? You need a food chopper if you're going to do bigger jobs, but if you have a knife, you do not need a food chopper for like nuts and garlic, and I'm going to show you why. Okay, this is our 1/4 cup chopped nuts. I did a little more because I like a little more in mine. This knife I got on Amazon, and when you want to mince something, all you do is you come back and forth, making sure you're getting every piece, and it's going to take you a couple goes, but you want them fine enough that people aren't like biting into big chunks of pecan, even though some people like that. The smaller they are, you get more in every bite. The big chunks, you might get a bite or two here and there, but we want to make sure there's that nutty pecan flavor in every bite. Now let me show you another great thing about this knife. Okay, look at that. Better than a broom, just do the same thing until they're the consistency you want for your bake. If it's bread, I recommend don't get it down to dust because people like the crunch of a pecan. But I recommend if you're doing a bread or cookies, you try to get them as little as possible. Oh, Nat, you can buy them chopped up. You can buy them that small. Well, here in Connecticut, you can only buy them in halves or pieces. You can't buy them chopped. Which is okay, because you know what? I have a collection of knives. Some might call me a knife connoisseur. Alright. Alright, so my oven just told me that she's preheated. So we're going to go ahead and add these pecans to our batter. Now, remember what I said about folding and stirring? That's going to come in handy. We've already beat her all she needs to be beaten. Okay? Don't do that. Alright, so we're just going to fold in the pecans. We don't want to damage the gluten anymore, right? So we're folding. Okay. Another thing that I'm going to fold in, and this is my twist, it's the holiday season. I like a little bit of seasoning. So we're just going to put about a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Okay. I'm going to do just a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. And the piece de resistance. This is vanilla bean paste. You can purchase it at Amazon if you can't find it at your local store. Vanilla beans too, if you want vanilla beans. But this is going to really enhance the flavor of that banana and just give it a little more of a kick. So we're just going to put just a little squeeze in there. Alright, then we're going to fold these in. Why didn't you put it in the beginning, Nat? Well, I could give you some convoluted excuse about how, oh, it doesn't matter when you put it in, which really sometimes it doesn't. I just forgot. I was so focused on bringing y'all the real recipe, I forgot. So we folded those in there really good. And they're really incorporated. I'm so excited. This is going to taste so good. Now see, like I told you, it's not runny like a cake, but it's a quick bread. And it's not as thick. Oh, remember the bundt cake? Like I had to spoon that joker out there. This one, I'll probably still have to spoon some. Not as much as the other day. Alright. Now I'm making these so my daughter can take them to some of her teachers. Like I said, I always look for somebody to give stuff to. I've lost about 75 pounds and I ain't trying to gain it back. You hear me? Alright, so Baker's Joy. Jump for joy. I don't care. It's so much easier. Okay, so we're just going to lightly spray these fellas. It doesn't take much. I hope this makes 4. I've never done it in small pans before. But I hope that this makes at least 4. If not, I've got a few more of these. But I bought a 5-pack of these and it only came with 4 lids. So I was like, well, maybe I'm just doing 4. Alright. Now you only want to get it about halfway full because this is going to rise. Especially these have lids, you know. And I want to send them in the thing and not flip them out of the thing. So, alright, I'm going to fill these up and I'll be right back. Now that you got them in your pan, you just want to give it a little tap so all those air bubbles get out and everything goes down into the corners, okay? We are going to put her in a 350 oven for about 45 minutes and then we'll be back to take it out and take a look. Okay, so I've taken them out of the oven and they've cooled. Now, you're normally going to do this in a loaf pan, but because I'm sending them to people, I did them in these pans, so I really want to mention, you'll do the 45 to 50 minutes if you're doing a loaf pan, but if you're doing small pans like these, it only takes about 30 minutes or until the toothpick comes out smooth, okay? Now, I'm a perfectionist, so when I tell you that I mess up a lot, this is one of the things that I tend to do when I have separate pans. You can see how I filled them unevenly. So because I'm sending these to people and I got to put lids on them, in order to try it, we are going to just evenly cut those tops off, okay? So all you got to do is if you've got a long bread knife, you can do it one at a time if you don't want to. I've been doing this a while, so that's what I do. What I'm going to do so it doesn't crumb too much is I'll start from the other side and do like that. Alright. Like I said, these got a little overfilled, and that's okay. Another good thing that I love to do with banana bread is I'll smear some butter on there and let it get good and melty while it's steaming. Oh, the butterier the better. I cannot stress that enough. I'm going to come show you what our bread looks like. Okay, so now we're going to try our banana bread. And I have a bad habit of not showing you guys right, so I'm trying to make sure I do. It is going to be this blonde color, and look at the texture. It's going to be not bouncy, but really soft. So let's take a piece. Just like I used to make with my mom. I can't tell you how much this means to me, because I haven't made this in a really long time. But I'm really happy that I made it today. Thanks for baking with me today. Banana bread is such a great comfort food and brings back so much nostalgia for me. I hope you can bake yourself happy anytime you want. I hope to be able to help you do that. So like, subscribe, and join me next time where we'll monkey around. You get it? Because bananas. Love you, bye!